Buongiorno! Good morning from Rome, although we're not in Rome for very long. We're heading to the train station right now. We're getting a train to Tivoli. There's a couple of villas out there, including Hadrian's Villa. So continuing the story that we were in Barcelona, just a little bit closer to Rome. So we will see you there. Quick 1 hour train ride. We made it to Tivoli, and I can now say it correctly as I heard it pronounced on the train a few times. But we are walking now first to Villa de Este, which is the first of two places we're visiting today. The second is Hadrian's Villa. A short walk through town, which we're probably going to revisit because we'll get lunch in between the two villas. We made it to Villa de Este. I think that the villa itself, being a house or structure, is impressive, but more impressive, like we said, are the gardens. We just read a little bit about it, and apparently they're actually not just the foundation of Italian gardens everywhere. They're actually modeled after the famous lost gardens of Babylon. So there's actually an aqueduct that runs underground here for like 600 meters. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
600 meters from the local river, and that's how all of these are essentially non-piped, like no power behind it, just flowing throughout the entire area.
Yeah, they really figured out the concept of gravity early on.
Yeah, they did. Let's go inside. Okay, so maybe I undersold the villa a little bit. It's actually really beautiful. And pardon the echoey voice, we are actually underground now on I guess the first basement level. So upstairs they have a bunch of really beautiful rooms. Kelly was actually telling me that they went under disrepair for a while. So they lost a lot of the original walls. So the walls are blank, but the ceilings have been renovated, although some of the more intricate paintings on the ceiling have not been. They left in blank holes, and it's actually kind of neat the way they did that because they had a couple signs that told us about what they were supposed to represent. One of the rooms, I think in particular, was supposed to represent the four seasons on the four walls and had beautiful views. So all of those were blank, but at least was able to tell the story.
Yeah, and in some cases they've replaced some of the missing paintings now with modern artwork to demonstrate what would have been there.
Yeah, and then now that we've come downstairs, there's a couple fountains that's supposed to represent like grottos. That I think water is really being intertwined now into the villa itself, and there's a couple rooms with a nice view. I'm not going to talk about every room because there's a lot of them, but this one in particular was known as the banquet hall and has a really beautiful fountain instead of a fireplace. And then it has these giant doors that lead out to the balcony and the gardens. This one in particular is really stunning. We've now exited the actual villa itself, which is quite remarkable. Two things we learned is that one, it's the home of, or was the home of Cardinal Ippolito d'Este, so hence the name Villa d'Este. Also inside on the bottom floor is actually where all the living was. There's a couple rooms that I highlighted in particular, but interestingly through all of them, because it was a cardinal's residence, many of the artworks or themes to the room or about rooms of the Bible or famous people from the Bible.
Yeah, we did notice though that I guess due to the reconstruction and some of the disrepair, they've actually repainted what seemed to maybe at one point have been tapestries. So still nice that you can see them, but not quite exactly as it was.
Yeah, I'd say the villa itself exceeded expectations, given I thought I was just here for the gardens. But let's go see those now. Maybe they're even better. We spent probably 15 minutes just walking on this upper terrace that the villa is up over my right shoulder, and then to the left, walking down the hill are the gardens. Just can't get over how beautiful it is. And also, it's extremely quiet. There's not very many tourists here. It's a really nice getaway from the craziness of Rome in August. So we're really enjoying it. Gonna head down to the gardens soon, and just how beautiful this is, we may actually have to separate these vlogs between one, Villa d'Este, and then two, Hadrian's villa. We've made it down into the actual fountains, and our first stop is the Pegasus fountain. It's actually really beautiful, and this is the highest point, so it's where all the water starts for the rest of the fountains below. Really impressive first one. This big one?
It's also known as the Queen of Fountains, a name supposedly given to it by Archbishop Francesco Martinez.
Coming just down the hill, one of the first larger fountains that we get to is the Fountain of Tivoli, or, sorry, Kelly.
The Fontana di Avato. It's the oval fountain, so it's a semicircular fountain. And clearly it's the most busy place in this whole area.
It is really stunning, and the fact that there is zero water power that goes with this is just gravity working. Really impressive, and also really cool is that if you look up towards the top, you actually see the first fountain that we visited, kind of overlooking this entire fountain system.
Yeah, it makes it look like Pegasus is flying.
Yeah, really beautiful, really serene. I think that there's 4 or 5 more significant fountains on our way down, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but really nice. Okay, so this is probably the coolest fountain I've ever seen or heard, or one to hear. So the fountain behind us and what's right above Kelly's head there is actually an organ. And so the water, as it comes down through this fountain, releases air from the organ that makes music. And it's kind of amazing that they can actually control the water flow to the different pieces of the organ that then produces music. It's taken a long time to renovate it. Apparently it's actually working now after, 100 years or so of not functioning. But unfortunately, it looks like it's closed up and it's not working today. Sad to miss it, but really neat how they managed to make an organ out of a fountain with water hundreds of years ago. We were just a little bit up the hill at Fountain of the Dragon, which is really hard to get video of because the sun is literally right above it. I'm not quite as impressed with that one, but something that is impressive are these pools of water in the fountain right behind us. This guy was about my type of fishing. So what he used to do with these pools is he filled them with freshwater fish so that when his guests came, they could fish. And it's just a pool. That's cheating. But pretty awesome nonetheless. And then there's a fountain at the top of it that's powered, again, no water pressure, no electronics, nothing. This is just the pressure of the water as it flows down the hill from the mountain, I guess, above us.
Yeah, and the same water power actually filled these pools naturally too.
We're in front of maybe one of the most Instagrammed fountains in this entire place. For reasons that you can probably imagine, is that it looks like the statue has many different boobs, but in fact, legend has it that these are actually bull scrotums. So not what you were expecting. It's still really pretty.
Well, it's actually meant to symbolize the continuity of life in Mother Nature. So, you know, the ability of sort of ongoing flow of life.
Yeah. Kelly brings it back to a positive light.
I try.
I'm just here for the jokes. Coming to the last few fountains here in the gardens, the one behind us is the Fountain of the Owl and is probably the least well preserved, but also used water to make noise. And so it's called Fountain of the Owl because there's an owl and some birds inside the fountain that as water rushed through, it would cause the birds to chirp and then the owl to make noise as well.
It's pretty incredible, though, that this was so revolutionary at the time that it made all of this noise, and we still haven't been able to recreate it today. It still doesn't work. We can't restore it.
We've made it all the way back to pretty much the top of the hill now, and we're walking to Kelly's left. There is the 100 fountains. So it's literally 100 fountain spurts laid over 3 different levels, and the 3 different levels represent the 3 different rivers that combine in this area and then also support the water system for all of these. It's really quite remarkable, honestly, and it is quite long. I don't know if it's going to capture on video, but it's really something.
I'm just impressed with how strong the water flow is. Like, the fountains are evident of it, but even these small ones, the water flow is not just dripping. Like, it's very much a current.
It really is. It's really beautiful. Our last fountain is now behind us. It's the Fountain of Rome. And today I learned that Tivoli and Rome were in conflict for a long time. But the fountain has this like river almost in front of it with a ship that symbolizes the Tiber, which is the river that actually flows through Rome, not the rivers that make up all of these fountains. Overall, these were absolutely incredible gardens. The fountain's absolutely worth a visit.
Yeah, if you like engineering, this is a cool place for you.
Yeah, I think this and Castel Gandolfo, both of them have probably some of the most amazing gardens we've been to anywhere in the world. So this is probably going to close up this vlog, and then maybe I'm going to make another one for where we're going this afternoon. So for now, I think, see ya.